Hi, welcome to today's game of Cthulhu Dark, the Red Tower. My name is Will, my pronouns are he, him, and I will be running this session with these lovely folks from the Gauntlet. For this session, we are using Graham Walmsley's rules-like game to play for a scenario from the book No Security by Heaven Games. This is a collection of Depression-era horror adventures that's available on Drive for RPG. There will be links in the show notes. So this game has been arranged for the Gauntlet gaming community, and as usual, we will be using all the safety tools that we normally use in play here at the Gauntlet, including but not limited to lines, veils, the X card, and script change. I've played with these guys before, and we have gone over the lines and veils beforehand. But if you're interested in more of those, you can find the resources, these safety tool resources on the Gauntlet as well on the website. The other thing is that this is an open table, so all of our players are free to leave at any time for any reason. I'm also free to leave at any time. But again, we've all played together, so I imagine we will communicate around that. My hope is that this session will be disturbing and possibly disgusting, but not gratuitously so. And my hope is that everybody will help keep me honest on that measure. And so just to give a brief introduction, the players have already heard this before in the chat, but the background of this setting is that it's 1931 Chicago. Al Capone is behind bars. His organization is in free fall, and everything in the Window City is up for grabs by the many, many greedy hands that were formerly kept bound by his control. Meanwhile, the newly reorganized Food and Drugs Administration is embarking on a major cleanup of the Chicago meatpacking industry. The FBI is leaning heavily on the FDA to get it access to all of these businesses that have been paying protection money to Capone racket over the years. And yeah, as far as the feds are concerned, times might be changing for the city of industry. But for the regular folks, for the normal workers, this is the Depression. It's not good times in Chicago. And as anyone who's familiar with Upton Sinclair's book, The Jungle, the meatpacking district has never been a particularly kind place to the workers. Amidst this sort of backdrop of tension and unrest, some people see an opportunity. The socialists, the political people who are campaigning on behalf of those workers. The soil of Chicago's slums is ripe for revolution. It just needs to be fertilized and tended. And for some of these poor people, the Reds are actually starting to make sense. Now, here is where we come in with, there is all of this going on in the background, and we will explore it as we introduce our characters, and they will each take up a certain one of these angles of approach to the same horror that lies beneath Chicago's meatpacking district. So, in character keeper order, I will ask the players to introduce themselves and their characters. We will go around, and then I might ask a couple of questions to flesh out some bits of the characters in the same order. So, if Alan, would you like to go first?
Hello, my name is Alan. I use pronouns he, him, and tonight I'm playing Jimmy Malone. Jimmy could bear a significant resemblance to the Sean Connery character from The Untouchables, as Jimmy has 25 years as a police patrolman, but he was seconded into the FBI task force to help take down Capone. And now that Ness and the rest are off meeting the governor and the president and all that stuff, Jimmy finds himself seconded to the task force that's kind of swooping up afterwards. So he's resolutely not a Fed, but, it's the right thing to do.
Nice. And Horst.
Horst, he, him. I'm playing Leo Kowalski. Leo, I think, is first generation Polish immigrant. He's a journalist. I imagine maybe for some kind of these scandalous newspapers. Not really he hasn't had the chance to do serious journalism. It's more like get in the tree and something got stolen and stuff. But he dreams of a Pulitzer Prize to make his family proud.
Nice. And Puckett?
Hi there, Puckett, he, him pronouns. I'm playing Tommy DeMarco. And listen, I know what you're thinking. Like, I'm just this kid. I can't know anything. I can't do anything. I'm hawking these papers all day. I'm just moving papers, right? I know that's what you're thinking of me, but I'm telling you, I'm going places. I got a future. I got a real bright future. I'm going to make sure of it.
Nice. And then finally, Ferret.
Hello, I am Ferret, also known as Sawyer. I'll answer to either, and pronoun-wise, I use any pronouns. You can't misgender me unless you're being a jerk. Don't be a jerk. And I am playing Marguerite Baines. She is a... some would call her a mole. Some might call her a lady-come-lately. Others, one of those barroom Bettys, but... she's been the one keeping the alcohol flowing and being that wonderful middle woman for people between moonshiners and speakeasies. But with people clamping down and Al Capone out in jail and more arms around her throat than she knows what to do with, things are really beginning to change.
Okay. So we have a FBI agent, a newsie, a photographer, and a gangster. Now, I'm going to suggest that Leo Kowalski works for the Chicago Oracle, a fledgling newspaper with socialist leanings whose office you can see within the Places tab on the Character Keeper, and whose editor, Franklin Pearson, you can see on the Faces. But I do have a few questions just to try and link up, give you guys reasons to talk to each other rather than all go off and independently go insane and die in the streets of Chicago. So, Jimmy, the Cat Malone, why do you owe, why or what do you owe the gangster Paulie the Roach Allegretti, who used to look after this district, this area for Capone?
I think that, I was chasing Paulie when he was a kid on these streets, when I was a newly minted police officer. And I think that I had something on Paulie, and I cashed that in to get some leverage around the Capone investigation. So I think I owe Paulie a favor because he did me a favor.
Nice.
In the Capone investigation.
I like it. And I will just go over to our other crime-related character, Margaret Baines. I mean, I guess my first question to Margaret Baines is, what do people call you? Maggie?
Well, if they're proper, they call me Marguerite. The correct pronunciation of the name, darling. If they're on my good sign, Maggie
Okay.
or Mags.
And same question to you, Maggie. Why do you owe the Roach?
I believe that some may call them sugar daddies later on, but he got pinched with Capone, and I get to live the rare life of a single woman as a gangster instead of being immediately taken as he's looking out for me.
Nice. Allegretti has looked out for you. Okay. Leo, what trouble did Jimmy get you out of? What trouble did Jimmy get you out of?
The trouble is with the landlord of the housing project or whatever it is where I live, and I think I had an eviction notice or something, and I asked him to put pressure on the landlord.
Nice. So,
and like the good beat cop I was, who wouldn't?
Nice. Got ideas about, what kind of man puts another man out on the street? Give him another week, you bum. That kind of stuff. Yeah. And Tommy, Tommy, why? So Jimmy, Maggie. So Jimmy, Tommy, why did? Well, how do you know Eddie Chapper, journalist and muckraker for the Chicago Oracle?
Oh, well, we're eyes on the streets, you see. There's dozens of us. Nobody pays attention to us because we're everywhere and we're always just making so much racket that they figure we can't be telling anybody anything, right? So like the gangsters don't pay any attention to us unless they're like, slipping us a little bit extra because, they're kind of want us to turn the other way when they're coming out of that store where they just kind of picked up the, the money that the shopkeeper pays them to make sure the windows stay nice and like intact instead of broken. So he just asks us stuff. Sometimes we know something, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we saw where the body actually hit before it got moved, so it looks like it came from a different place. We're everywhere. We're like rats.
Yeah, you are like rats. There we go. Okay, so I think that's enough. Overthink. So let us begin with. Oops, I am putting places into faces and faces into places by mistake, which will a cascade effect that will never get cleared. Okay, so over at the Federal Offices and Records, we find Jimmy the Cat Malone being spoken to by Special Agent Alexander Whittemer, the head of the part of the Capone investigation. He is in charge of this particular offshoot of it, investigating the links in the meatpacking district, one of Chicago's biggest industries. For those who do not know, Chicago's at the moment is a staggering amount of meat comes through here. It is 475 acres packed of stockyards. Something like 10,000 cattle, 10,000 sheep, and 10,000 pigs go through every single day, entering into this great machine, this hungry beast that feeds the country. And, just like any great animal, there have been parasites and ticks hanging off the belly. And it's time. Agent Whittemer is here to help it clean it up. And he calls you in. So, Malone, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Mr. Whitmer.
I hear you're a local boy, right?
Yes, I am, sir. And I thought I might go back to a quiet retirement now that the whole Capone thing's rolled up.
Well, it's not quite rolled up yet, son. He says son, despite being a good 30 years younger than you from the looks of the pictures.
And I think, Jimmy's eyes kind of drift towards the ceiling.
Listen, I need a guy who can look into some things without stirring things up too much. You're known around here, right? People are familiar with you. You know who you could talk to.
Yeah.
We're looking for this capo. Used to be Capone's guy in the area. Paulie the Roach Allegretti. Rumor has it that he's willing to turn a dime on his boss and his old partners.
I'm not sure I know who you mean.
Well,
Paulie Allegretto?
Yeah, semi-Italian name. Go figure. But anyway, you put your ear to the ground, shake a few trees, see if Allegretti might be hiding up any of them, okay?
Okay, boss.
And another thing. There's this journalist, Eddie Chapper, works for some red rag, the Oracle. Now, orders from head office is that, We ain't got no time for the socialists. They're an American is what they are. But this Chapper guy, he likes to stick his nose in places he doesn't belong. Noses, it's no like in places like people's pocketbooks.
So,
One of our guys says that he offered a tip, some big money moving around the meatpacking district that wasn't on the books anywhere.
so what exactly do you want me to? Are we talking about bricks through newspaper building windows here, or are you looking for a different kind of solution?
I'm looking
Special
for you
agent.
to find. I'm bricks through windows. What do you think we are? Union?
Well, you ought to be here to do the job that needs doing, Special Agent.
Yes, I ordered you here to find Allegretti and find Chapper. Find out what they know and chase it down until it bleeds.
And
you bring in the roach.
And then the retirement deal that Mr. Ness had agreed, that's all then done, yeah?
Listen, when we've cleared up your patch, that's when you can put your feet up.
Thank you, sir. Cap on, leave the room.
Anytime, son. Close the door behind you.
Slam.
At the FBI building, it's essentially just a municipal building that's been commandeered by the FBI. They don't have a permanent office here in Chicago, in this area of Chicago. The FDA is there. It's filled with people working on records, chasing through books, all of that kind of thing. Well, I've just realized I didn't give you the link that I gave the people normally here. Oops. But why don't I cut across to Marguerite Baines, in fact, because I would like to stay on her good side. You are in. You've been asked to come to an auto shop on the edges of the meatpacking district. This is a place that you wouldn't like to hang out normally, but you ain't seen Paulie. He was in the Roach for a good few weeks now, and with Capone out of the way, that leaves, and Allegretti not around, that leaves, the operations around here kind of loose, right? The guy who's stepping into the void is a small-time hood named Giuseppe the Hen Gallo, and therefore this auto shop is often known as the Hen's Den. It is a front for Gallo's operation. And he has asked you in for a social call, and the Roach is a sleazeback, as you might be able to guess from his picture in the faces part. And he greets you, and he kisses you a little bit on the cheek, like a little bit too long. And he stands back, and he's like, Maggie, you're looking good. You're looking swell.
And this is the Hen or the Roach?
This is the Hen. You have not seen the Roach. The Roach, who is your friend, your benefactor, almost.
She'll wrap her pearls around her finger, just enough to be able to wipe her hand or cheek off her face a bit. Just, Giuseppe, nice to see ya. Oh, what's the big business call for?
Well, I got some bad news about our mutual friend, the Roach. Looks like he might have blown the whistle. Turned the other way for the feds. Dropped the dime to get out of here.
I don't think so. Not unless something fucked happened.
Something fucked happened, right? They got the boss. And, people like the Roach, they think that when they see their grasp on things slipping, they don't stand out of the way for the new blood. They try and drag the whole thing down with them.
You think that I know something about this? You think?
Well, I'm sure if you knew something
I
about
mean-
this, you'd tell me, huh? Pretty girl like you wouldn't want to ruin your looks.
Oh, it takes a lot to ruin something like this, baby. And I don't think you have it in you to try.
Oh, no,
but
me?
yes, if I thought something was going to take the entire family down, of course, I'm a family girl. You know how it is.
That's what I like to hear, Maggie. That's what I like to hear. Well, with that in mind, I was hoping you could could apply the feminine touch to someone who might be able to tell us just a little bit about where the roach has got to. And he opens the door to his back office, and you can see a worried-looking woman dressed in her nightgown, who you recognize as Marda Allegretti, the beleaguered wife of the roach. A woman that you've had, good relationships with. She's not really like a mole. She's like
She's the wife.
Yeah, she's the wife, exactly, yeah. But she's, she's good people.
Yeah,
And there are some of his goons standing, smoking around her.
so I think I'm going to end up rolling dice in this, unless this is a setup to cut away.
No. Feel free to roll to investigate to see how much you can get out of.
So I think the approach Maggie's going to take is to walk in, check on her, wipe the cheek a bit, rearrange the makeup, pull out a few ration coupon, pull out some of the good stuff, the butter, the cream, like the actual good kind of stuff for the Depression era, and hand it over for her and the little ones, and then just.
Oh, you don't have to do that, Maggie. Yeah, it's fine. I got plenty. Paulie left me plenty. Giuseppe, he won't let me go.
No, this is for your trouble. Look, I'm trying to get you out of here. Just, anything, woman to woman. I'm not like those guys. You said something wrong to me, I ain't gonna hurt you.
Well, why don't we roll to see what dice? I think that your background as a mole with her allows you to roll 2 dice, and a reminder that if you do not get the result that you like, you can always re-roll by including your insight die.
Okay, let's see how this goes. Oh, I'm going to have to roll to get with that insight die, because I only got a double 2.
Yeah, which is, I haven't rolled a failure. You would this is barely succeeding. The bare minimum that you need to continue your investigation, essentially.
Yeah, but I don't want to barely succeed.
Good.
There we go.
There we go. And your insight die wasn't the highest die, so you do not need to roll your insight. It costs you nothing. So on a 5, you get everything and a little bit more. And she says, "Listen, I don't know why they got me. You know as much as anyone that I'm not Paulie's only woman. Me and the kids, we keep out of his business. I thought that maybe when everything went down, I'd see more of him and he'd have more time for us. But he's out all hours of the night. He's out everywhere. He's I don't ask. I don't ever want to be involved in any of his affairs, and yet the hen brings me down here so he can peck at me. It's not right. And I got Paulie stomping around, leaving mud all over the place, ruining his jacket, stealing the good spade out of the garden.
It ain't right. No, as I told you, you told me, and you'll crumple the hand around those ration coupons. Get yourself something nice. Reaches into the purse, pulls out like a decent set of earrings, and so I'm like, this is for the peckin'. We hens, we got to look out for each other. We real hens.
Nice. Well, she she smiles and looks at you, and at your words and your say so, if you say that you've got everything out, then the hen will let her go back to her family. So she has told you that Paulie's been out all hours of the night and day, even after supposedly his pool room has been shut down due to the heat on Capone. Paulie's pool room is a nice little speakeasy located down a back alley.
And it sounds like he's taken up gardening for some odd reason.
And have I got Paulie's pool room in the character keeper? No, I do not. I'll put Paulie's pool room in the character keeper. And then, well, you know what? I will ask Jimmy, which line of inquiry are you going to pursue first, and where are you going to go?
I'm going to go where Paulie ought to be, which is his pool room. Or do I know it's closed?
Well, you know that it's shut down, but you do know of the pool room, you know, and you know that I think that a guy like you know that it was a prohibition speakeasy. You know, you're not some G-man who didn't know that it was there. Like, you may be having a drink there, right?
Well, the honest truth is, because I owe Paulie a favor, I'm not that motivated to track him down for this dick who's now giving me orders. So I'm more inclined to follow the other lead, the Eddie Chapper. And so I think I wander down to the south side, to that bit of Chicago where the Oracle has most of its circulation, and I pick a more or less random
There we
newsie
go. Yes.
with you know, one of those banners, or you know, with handfuls of the Oracle. And I hand him a dime, and I get a copy of the newspaper, and say, "Oh, there's an article in there by Chappa." And I say, "Oh, you know this guy?"
Oh, Mr. Chappa, yeah, he's a real swell guy. I mean, he always tips us a little bit extra. I mean, he doesn't have to. I mean, he writes for the paper, you know. Well, he writes for one of the papers that I sell, but he's always real swell. You know, he comes by, asks how we're doing, sees if we need anything, you know. Took me out for a sandwich one time, like an actual honest-to-God roast beef sandwich.
Wow, a real guy.
He's a real swell guy. Yeah. Why are you looking for him? You got a story tip for him or something?
Well, I might have, is the fact. I might have. And so I was kind of interested in where I could find him.
So give me the scoop. You law? You connected? What kind of story you got for him?
Do I look like a policeman?
Well, you don't look like no Fed.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean you ain't a cop.
Oh, come on. You're telling me this community doesn't have a relationship with its local police patrolman?
I mean, everybody should. Because, you know, who's going to look out for you when you're running from the feds?
Exactly. So maybe I was in that kind of business a while ago. But now I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Okay. And so, you know, how do I get in touch with this guy, Chappa?
Well, it occurs to you that the offices of the Chicago Oracle might be a good place to start looking for a journalist.
Yeah, but, you know, I know these journalists, they don't spend any time in the office. You know, which bar is he likely to be in? And, you know, I know there are no bars, but you know what I mean?
I was going to say, there's no bars. But, okay, you know Nora's, that diner? It's over on the corner.
I do.
So you didn't hear this from me because, you know, Mr. Chappie, he treats us real well. But if you was to go there around lunchtime, you might find him tucking in to a burger or some chili.
Okay.
But you didn't hear it from me.
No, is it good chili?
Well, it's cheap. I mean, it's and when it's cheap, sometimes you can overlook some of the sawdust and the meat.
Well, kid, you know, see me at lunchtime there.
Okay, and you got to forgive me, Mister. I ain't seen you around here none. What's your name?
You don't need to know my name. My name's the guy who might buy you lunch.
Right you are, Mr. The guy who might buy me lunch. I'll see you there around lunchtime.
Nice.
See you then, kid.
And we will cut over to the Chicago Oracle, where we find Leo Kowalski, who has been called in to the Franklin Pearson, the editor of the Oracle's office. Kowalski, come on, sit down. Listen, You seen Chapper around?
He left some time ago.
I ain't seen him in weeks. You know, he was in last time I spoke to him. He was going on about how he was gonna get the biggest scoop on the meatpacking district since the jungle. Said he was gonna blow this whole thing wide open, and then he went silent. I ain't seen nothing around it, and I'm starting to get a bit worried.
Oh wow!
You could do me a solid.
That sounds good.
You
need a real eye.
You want to do me a solid and see if you can find him?
Sure thing, sir.
Right. Well, here's his address book, and he hands you over an address book, which has Eddie's apartment listed in the slums of the meatpacking area, and then it has another address listed in the meatpacking slums with the letter B next to it, and the location of a house. And this is a strange one. Is outside of town in one of the wealthy suburbs. Mm. He says, "Listen,
Mr. Peterson." Oh yeah.
Well, no, it's all right, Kowalski. I'm just saying. I know that Eddie likes to go and get a bowl of chili from down at Nora's. I was gonna head down there myself, but I got an edition to put out this afternoon. You think you can maybe pop in there and see if you see him? Anyone seen him around?
And I think at this point you hear Kowalski's stomach grumbling. Nora's? Yeah, that sounds awesome. One thing though, Mr. Pearson, when have you seen Chopper last time?
Must be at least a week.
A week ago. All right.
Yeah, he says he's been working undercover with, doing just like Upton Sinclair did, like working in the lines in the meatpacking district.
Wow, that's real journalist work.
Yeah, not everyone's got the stomach for this, but not everyone's got the stomach for Eddie's kind of story either. Luckily, our readers do.
Might be just the one.
This could be a big break for you, kid. Okay.
All right.
Well,
I'm off.
I leave it with you. And get me pictures of Spider-Man. I can never play a newspaper chief without saying that. In any case, I think you guys are all set up to meet up in Nora's. We will take a break at the top of the hour, guys. And Marguerite, Eddie's pool room, Paulie's pool room, sorry. Did I put that into the keeper? Yes, I did. Paulie's pool room is a low-rent basement pool room located along the main thoroughfares between the stockyards and the meatpacking neighborhoods. For a number of years, he used the operation to provide bathtub whiskey, illegal gambling, the usual stuff. It was on the Capone ledgers, though, so it was shut down just after the arrest began. But maybe it's not quite as closed as it sounds. What would you like to do?
Meet Spider-Man for an alley liaison.
You have a very awkward kiss upside down.
God, I've heard that kiss was terrible. I think it's maybe time to get the counterfeit ration coupons to take to Nora's for their usual payment for the week.
Oh, yeah, sure. You can.
I can pick those up there, maybe. Like maybe this is a drop-off place still, even though it's closed down.
Well, I mean, you're looking for the roach, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and yeah. Let's see. So, picked up. I know there's a lot of mud, and he's been burying something. So yeah, might as well come meet with some of his old friends and see if they know anything about hidden plans of his or any kind of things.
Do you want to roll to investigate?
Yes, let's do this. I think I'm just on 1 die right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? 2, I would say 2.
Oh,
So
I
you
don't
find
need
out.
2. Got a
Cody,
5.
you got 5. Yeah, people, you ask around and people tell you that they ain't seen Paulie either, not for a couple of weeks. He did get... he was talking about how he was going to step into the void and he was going to start things back up again. Now was the perfect time while everyone's eyes were on the money. Now's the time to make some more. But yeah, he asked somebody to drop off some stuff at the pool room about a month ago. No one's really, hasn't spoken to him much since.
Oh my. So there's something at the pool room. Yeah, I think I want to get involved with everyone else, so,
Yeah, well, tell me how you know one of the other characters and why you go looking for their help.
Oh, God, I think I have to know, Tommy is, I got, one of the, best things is to be able to have time to read these days, and not just those penny dreadfuls. Yeah, I think
Well-
Tommy's my book hookup.
Well, you know what Tommy's found at lunchtime, hoping someone's going to buy him lunch at Nora's.
Okay.
Only 3 cents for a bowl.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be like this little set of her going to his usual corner, then trekking to Nora's.
Yes, and Nora's is a place that did not exist, so there is no artwork for that. Over at Nora's, Leo, you arrive. Nora, the waitress / owner of the restaurant, of the diner, sits you down and she says, "You looking for Eddie? Nah, he ain't come in. I'll sit you down in his favorite spot. You want to try the chili?"
Yeah, give me a strong coffee and a chili, please.
Sure thing. And I think that's when Jimmy Malone comes in.
Is it possible for Tommy to arrive
Oh, yes.
first? Because Jimmy will watch from an alley across the street, wait for Tommy to turn up and go in, thinking that he can use Tommy to identify
Nice. So,
Chapper.
Tommy, you arrive and you don't see Eddie, and you don't see the guy who promised to buy you lunch, but you do see one of those.
Let's be fair. He didn't promise to buy me lunch. He said he might buy me lunch. So, you got to make your own luck in this world, but you sure ain't gonna make it if you don't show up for a guy who might buy you lunch.
Well, it's true, but you do see someone who might do. You see Leo Kowalski, another of the reporters from the Oracle.
Mr. Kowalski, how you doing?
Hey, kid, doing fine.
You seen Mr. Chappa around?
What am I, the telephone book or something?
Look, all I know is I ain't seen him. I know he's usually here. I ain't seen him in a couple days. I know your line of work. It ain't always the safest. I got a heart. I worry.
Hey, kid, can you even afford this place?
I think this is.
And I think that might be when Jimmy plonks himself down in a position where means that Leo can't make a run for it. So next to him, sandwiches him against the wall, whatever it is, and says, "Well, Mr. Chappa, you're the man I've been looking for."
Mr. Guy who might buy me lunch. This ain't Mr. Chappa. This is Mr. Kowalski.
Oh yeah, kid. Yeah, nice try.
No, I'm
so Chappa.
Hey, you might just be the worst cop I've ever seen.
Oh,
you are a cop.
I
you
lay
told me
the
you wasn't.
I lay the kosh beside my place setting. Now we can do this the easy way, Chappa, or we can do this the difficult way.
Mister, you need to buy glasses. I'm looking for Chopper myself, Leo Kowalski, and you are.
And I think I'm looking at the kid. And I'm trying to work out because I'm quite prepared to believe that Chapper would pull this line, but I think the kid's too green to be part of this. So I'm looking for the kid's reaction.
Mr. Guy who might be lunch. This is Mr. Kowalski. He's a photographer. He takes pictures. This is the guy who shows up after somebody, falls out a window, and he takes the pictures for the paper. Makes them look nice and bloody, so people buy it.
And I think Jimmy's gaze shifts from Leo towards the camera sitting on the table. And this is all beginning to make enough sense. And he says, "Shit, where's Chapper?"
Well, I think on that note is a good time for Maggie to arrive in the scene and to see Tommy talking to two guys. Well, do you know Jimmy?
I think I've heard of Jimmy, but not enough to know him by sight. Once talk about him comes up, I may, but
yeah. Well, you are in the
I
diner.
think it's quite likely that Jimmy has heard of Margarita Baines, because she'll have cropped up in the files of the Capone investigation as a kind of peripheral figure, won't she?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm very happy for Jimmy to recognize Margarita Baines as she comes in. But I'm not sure he's going to do anything about that because it's unrelated to Chapper as far as he's concerned.
Well, I guess the question is, as you three have your conversation about Chapper, where does it end up? You know, what is your next step? You know that you've got Eddie Chapper's address. And as you're talking, one of the waitresses comes over and says, "Oh, you're looking for Mr. Chapper? Oh, he ain't been in there a while. He has he was bringing in. I ain't seen him in 3 weeks. He was with that Polish guy, Isaac. He was feeding him up. He brought in a few guys actually. Now I think about it, all of them looking pretty, poor things, like barely any meat on their bones. Yeah, him and this nun."
A nun?
Yeah, tell me about it. Like a nun. I didn't even think, I thought I was back in Catholic school.
Got any last name for that Isaac guy?
Something I couldn't spell or pronounce.
Like Kowalski?
What?
Oh, I see.
Okay, sorry, I gotta go fill orders. I'm coming.
But I've just had a thought. I think I do need to talk to Margarita actually, because my secondary task is to either warn Paulie off, or find out, if I can find a way to pay my favor back. So, and I probably am aware of some connection between a certain Maggie Baines and a certain Paulie Allegretti.
Oh,
so I point at the kid and I point at the photographer and say, "Don't move." And I go to confront Margarita Baines.
I'm actually going to interrupt you real quick, because Tommy's going to say, as she kind of walks and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, there's police business going on here. You'll have to step away," with that kind of sideways look, like he thinks he's doing her a real solid.
Oh, it's and I think she had like this easygoing stance, and now like what was like this completely relaxed face, now the resting bitch face. It's on guard, and she'll pass Tommy an entire buck as for this tip.
And Jimmy will get up, you know, touch his hat, brim of his cap. Maggie Baines, I think.
Well, you have me at a disadvantage. You know me, but I can't put you in on the tip of my tongue at all.
Put my hand out and say, James Aloysius Malone.
Oh, Malone.
You can call me Jimmy. I think we've got a mutual friend.
And now she'll shake the hand.
You seen anything of Paulie lately?
Tommy. I think we need to have a lunch. This sounds like something we should discuss over a full belly.
I'll put whatever the price of the chili on is marked above the counter. I'll put it next to Tommy and say, "Get your chili, kid. Back in a minute." And I'll have coffee while Margarita tells me everything she knows about Paulie. Because why wouldn't she?
I think there's mutual ground between the two of you, and that you're both owe Paulie something, right? Like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jimmy will be honest about it, or even if he wasn't being honest, that's the line he'd take. Look, I owe Paulie a favor. I need to get it off my chest about it, but I can't. You know, where is he at? The pool parlor is closed apparently.
Yeah, I think she will sit down in the booth with Tommy and everything, and I think just make sure he's. I think it's almost like a safety device or something, or a shield, either or. And but she'll let slip that Paulie's wife is worried, which isn't good, and that bring up the fact that there is apparently a new hobby of gardening, or he has decided to become a pirate and bury shit, and there's something left for him at his place of business. But he's been missing for about a week.
I'm curious whether Leo sniffs a story here, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems that these missing times are just so coincidental.
Yeah. So when was the last time anybody saw Paulie?
Paulie was 3 weeks ago, and Eddie was 2 weeks ago.
We might have some mutual ground here, folks.
Well, before we break for the hour, I think it's a case of who wants to go where next. You know.
I mean, so Leo will definitely share the information about the B apartment in the poor district where Eddie lives.
Yeah, the second address in the thing. So I have not put that in the.
I mean, presumably that's on the way to Paulie's pool parlor.
It can be. It certainly can be.
So let's try a couple of addresses and then go to the pool parlor. Because, frankly, Jimmy isn't interested in anybody else's agenda. He just needs to get this job done so the retirement can be signed.
Fair. So where are you going first? Eddie Chapper's apartment?
Which one's nearest, Leo?
Mm-hmm.
Eddie's apartment.
Eddie's apartment.
Okay. So the party will go as a 4 to Eddie's apartment, if I understand correctly. Cool. Why don't we call this a break, and we'll come back at 10 past the hour. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Cool. See you guys soon then.
I'm back, just so you know.
Cool. Well, everyone is here. So, everyone all good? Yep. Cool. So Eddie Chapper rented out rooms in a slum house in the outskirts of the stockyards. As you approach through these winding streets, trash-laden, decrepit tenements, cramped, narrow confines, the haze of the meatpacking district industry spreading out across the area, the smell of the rendering and the animals never far. And you come to Eddie's apartment building, and you see that Eddie's apartment door is off its hinges.
Shit.
A woman.
Just barged in.
You just barged straight in. Nice. Who? Tell you what. You barge straight in, Leo. What do? You go straight in after him?
Yes, taking my camera and straight after Jimmy. Not, afraid of missing a good shot.
Nice. Now, Maggie, you strike me as someone who's clever enough to let other people get in front of whatever troubles coming your way.
Oh, while they're going in, I'm going to, search my purse for my anti-personnel items, just in case they happen to scream after they've stepped inside.
Well, would you like to roll me investigate here to see what you might spot as you look around, rooting for your switchblade?
Oh, okay. 1 die?
Yeah, I think it's just 1 die.
Ooh, I noticed nothing.
Ooh, well, at a 1, you notice that you are being watched by some of the people on the street. There is a woman stood on the opposite side, leaning against the lamppost, smoking a cigarette. There is a bedraggled-looking homeless man sat in the corner, staring at you, and there are the various closed looks of people with too little to lose, and not enough. They don't own enough to care about other people's problems. They've got their own.
Mm. Oh dear.
Inside, Jimmy, you come in. This place has been destroyed. The mattress lies gutted against the wall. The furniture has been reduced to kindling. All the books are shredded.
Shit.
Would you like to turn your
Chapper?
Like to turn your cop's gaze over this and roll me an investigate?
So. I think so. So I'm guessing 2 dice, and I think I will include the insight dice. Oh dear.
Oh dear. So roll your insight dice again. I've got a 5 and 6 chance of increasing your insight here. It goes up by 1.
Up.
Yeah. So
near retirement too.
The thing that freaks you out is that there are muddy footprints all over the floor of this place. There are holes in the wall. Everything's been smashed up. And you realize that this wasn't done by hands or feet. This was done by something big, something heavy, like a sledgehammer.
So what? Just so I'm clear, the muddy footprints are boots.
Yes.
Can I tell if it's 1 pair of boots or multiple pairs of boots?
You think at least 2 people.
And when you say, the walls of people have gone at them with a sledgehammer, is this people going through the plasterboard, the drywall, looking to see if there's anything hidden in there? Is that, or are they just? Is this just wanton damage or a search?
No, you recognize that this is a search for something.
Okay. I can't think of another question straight off the top of my head.
Tommy, where would you like to roll me an investigate here as well to see if you can find anything that Letty might have left behind? Puckett? Well, then let's
Sorry about that. I forgot
to
unmute. I was getting ready to roll already. So Yeah, I don't see nothing.
Okay.
I guess I could say I see a whole lot of nothing, but nothing really that sticks out. I mean, yeah, there's some people hanging around looking a little bit weird, but this is Chicago. Everybody looks weird here sometimes.
So Leo steps out of the apartment and looks for people who might have seen something.
Sure. But first, Tommy, on a 1 note, you do still fail forward in this game, so you do find something of interest. And what you do find is a tattered brochure, screwed up and ripped to pieces, written in Polish and English, advertising cheap property rental. It includes the address that Leo has from the address book. And just visible is the word Chambliss Chara.
Hey, Mr. Guy who might buy me lunch and actually did buy me lunch. You think this might be something?
Call me Jimmy, kid.
That saves time. Good idea.
You got good eyes. You got good eyes.
And Leo, would you like to roll me investigate to see how good your, how good the quality of person you find to talk to here?
I do roll inside as well, just for shits and giggles. How do you do that? Re-roll again. Yeah. Wow,
Oof.
that's 6. I see more than I want.
6. Yeah. Yes, a 6. You do see more than you want to. So you meet Isaac, the Polish man who you heard about earlier.
I greet him in Polish. Cześć.
Cześć. Dobry. Nie. I know thank you, and that's about it.
Yeah. I was showing off.
Yeah, so I was with you for about up until the very last bit. But in any case, Isaac, in fluent Polish, of course, says that he asks you, do you know what's happened to Mr. Chapa? I told him everything, and he said he would tell people, but he is, oh my God, he is gone. They've come for him.
Calm down, Isaac. So he took care of you?
They offered us money. The landlord, they shut. We could not pay. We were desperate, and then they offered us money, and we took it. But then they wanted it back. And Mr. Chapa, he said he could help. He said if I just told him, he would make sure that people would know. But I told him it was dangerous, and now he is. Oh.
What do you think? The mafia?
Not the mafia. And he looks around. The Brokowskis. And Isaac looks rough. Isaac looks desperate. You've never seen a man so terrified. He's practically vibrating on the spot.
Listen, Isaac, you can trust me. The Brokowskis, who are they?
He says they are madmen. They say they work for this charity, but they work in the stockyards. Everyone knows you do not work with the Brokowskis. But I didn't know that's where the money came from. And then he pats his pockets for a cigarette, and he pulls one up and he looks. And as he looks up at you for a light.
Mm-hmm.
And he catches the reflection of something, and you see the woman on the other side of the road staring. And he shakes his fingers, shaking, and he backs away and he says, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. And he turns to walk up the street briskly away from you.
Turn around to the woman.
Can you make me an insight check, please? Do you think actually, you know what? It's up to you. Do you think that Leo is one enough to not be worried by like the sheer fear in this man's eyes, or would it unsettle him?
I think it would unsettle him. Not because of anything supernatural, but just because of the despair.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So if you'd like to roll your insight die, and yeah, it goes up by 1.
Yes, it does.
And yeah, this woman is watching.
How does she look like?
She looks. She's quite young. She's not much older than Tommy here. Although she does look worn down by something. Like whereas Tommy's all bright optimism and enthusiasm, this woman is, you know, she's got cold eyes.
I walk over to Marguerite and I say, "Hey, Marguerite, could you maybe check out this lady over there?"
Not my type. I usually go for a bit bustier.
She begins to walk away.
Miss.
She begins to run down the street. She ducks down into between 2 alleyways and begins running away down the road. Now, Jimmy and Tommy, I think you come out to see onto the street to see this. You have this Chambliss Charities flyer, and the location confirmed. You know, cross-referenced with Leo's notes.
Do I see this woman running away from Marguerite?
Yes, I think everyone can see this woman running away from Marguerite.
I'm just going to tear off after her. It's okay, Miss Baines. I got this. I'll follow her. We're quick as newsies.
Shit, kid. And I take off after the kid.
Nice. Is it a 4-person chase, like with Tommy in the front?
I'm going last. I'm in heels, and this is not Jurassic World.
But so is she.
Oh no, she's not. She is in the character keep. She does not strike me as a woman who wears heels. Okay, so Tommy, let's see how well your chase of this woman goes. She's running down these alleyways. You can't really tell where she's going.
Well, there ain't many places for her to go. These alleyways, these, I mean, they're narrow. They don't go many places. If you try to bust down a door, I mean, well, it's not going to be that hard because like all the wood around here is cheap and everything like that, but you can easily see it.
So roll me to catch up with it. I will roll a failure dice, and you will have to beat it. I don't know if being a newsie comes, maybe a newsie does come into this.
I think it does because, you know, there's times you have to run after the trucks because they shorted us on our papers. There's times we have to run after people because they gave us too much and we got to get them their change back. I mean, we're good at sprinting.
Yeah, so roll me 2 dice then.
I got a 4.
Nice. She goes down an alleyway that, like, you've never gone down here before. It doesn't look familiar. You know this place like the back of your hand, and it's strange. You're running in a direction that, wait, none of this looks familiar. You've never ever been down these streets before, but you're right on her heels. You know, like you don't need to know the way when you can see exactly where she's going. You're right behind her.
Miss, hold up. We just want to talk to you for a second. We got a couple of questions. We're trying to find a friend of ours.
And she comes to a stop, like she jogs to a stop in front of a chain link fence in like a derelict lot. And she clutches onto the chain behind her and she says, "Go away, boy. You're too young for this."
Miss, look, I'm just looking for my friend, Mr. Chappie. He's good to me, you know. He's a swell guy. He makes sure that he makes sure that I don't go hungry sometimes. I just want to know where he is. I want to make sure he's okay. That's all. And look at me. I'm not going to hurt you. I couldn't hurt you. I'm not big enough.
She pulls out a switchblade.
Miss, there's no need for that. I'm not trying to rob you or nothing. I just want to find my friend.
I think that's the point that Jimmy comes huffing and puffing around the corner. Yeah.
And I see the switchblade.
Mm-hmm.
Get behind me, kid.
No, Mr. Jimmy, it's okay. I mean, she's scared. I mean, we just chased her. It's okay.
No, there's a difference between being chased and running. Why do you run, miss?
Because strange people are after me.
I mean, sure, he looks kind of funny, but he's not that weird.
Roll me investigate to see how you get out. You convince her to loosen her lips one way or the other.
I will roll with insight. This is a one shot. Oh, I untick the insight dice. Forgive me. Oh, bam! They all went. Oh, 2, 2, and 1. Great.
And she says, "I don't know any Eddie. No chapper."
And as I'm talking to her and trying to get her calm her down, I'm moving slowly towards her.
Mm.
And then I grab for the wrist.
Oh, well, then this sounds like a doing something. So let's roll the failure dice against you.
Okay. Again, I'm going to roll. Hang on. I'm going to highlight them all and roll them all again. That is a 4, and it's not on the insight dice.
Nice. So you grab her wrist as she and she screams
and squeeze it till she drops the knife.
Yeah, and she lets go, and she staggers back, and out of a pocket drops a set of tattered notes. And she looks at you, and if you don't stop, I'll call them.
Look, miss. Before this now, I'm just curious. Did Margarita carry on chasing us?
Oh yeah,
and
I think
Leo at the back of this. I want to make sure I know who's present.
I think Marguerite and Leo are coming up the alleyway behind you now. Again, it's been a case of they've just been able to see each of you as you go round the corner. Otherwise, they get lost in this labyrinth of back alleyways and roads and dirt tracks.
And I say, now this, who are you going to call?
The workers.
And I'm looking around, this seems to be, are there loads of people about?
There is no one about. Behind you, behind her, behind this chain link fence, it's like, it would seem to be an empty lot, but you realize that there's a building there that sits squat and heavy against the horizon. It's strange that you didn't notice it before. It feels like a place that you've seen many times before. And sadly, the image has not copied across from my spreadsheet, so I need to find it on my computer. But as she looks back over her shoulder, and she starts to say something in a language that none of you have ever heard before.
Well, I just assume it's Polish.
Yes, yeah. Leo arrives here.
What's he saying, Leo?
And I think you all need to make me insight checks as she finishes saying this, because these words, they're just close to the edge of something that you feel you understand.
I've just rolled a 2. Oh, so it doesn't go up.
Nice. Here we go. And but everyone is here, so can everyone roll me the insight dice?
I rolled a 6.
Okay.
I'll go next. Oh, I got a 1.
A 1. Nice.
Too cool for school.
I got a 2, which means it doesn't increase.
Yeah, it all seems. But Suddenly you realize that you're standing in the shadow of this massive edifice. How could you not notice it before?
Does my 6 get me any particular insight or anything like that, or just like creep me out a bit?
You realize that you've spent almost your entire life in the shadow of this building, but you have no idea where you are right now. It's been a constant companion, but you've never really thought about it before now. You know, it's like recognizing the wallpaper that used to be in the lobby of your apartment building. It's something that you didn't realize you were looking at every day until you saw it again.
Mr. Jimmy, like this building, it's been here a while, Mr. Jimmy, and she knows Mr. Chappa. I know she does because you know I'm real respectful. I don't call nobody by their first name. It's always Mr. or Miss or Mrs. I was calling him Mr. Chappa when I was talking to her, and she called him Eddie. She knows something, Mr. Jimmy.
And she starts to say these words quicker and quicker, and she looks desperately back and she says, no. And then she stops. And she can't say anything, you know, just a lips move without anything coming out.
I'm looking at Leo, still waiting for translation.
This man.
She goes quiet and then suddenly jerks, lifts like violently, like up against the chain fence, tearing out of your grasp like it's so strong. And she like looks towards you. You see the fear in her eyes, like cattle heading into the slaughterhouse. And
I'm going to try. What she's suspended off the ground against.
Yes, yeah. As you go to grab her, you realize that she's actually an inch off the ground, like thrown against this fence. And then suddenly, as you grab hold of her, you feel warm wetness on your face as the rest of you watch, just across, and then across, and in a matter of a few seconds, this woman is butchered in front of you as just deep cuts go straight through her, and she just falls to the ground in a shower of meat and blood.
We can volunteer to make insight rolls, right?
Yes, I was about to ask.
All right, let's see what this one does for me. Well, that's a 1. Somehow this doesn't freak me out.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't think the language freaked me out. I think this probably will.
Well, I have to say it freaked me out. I rolled a 3. Jimmy just steps away, looking down at the gore dripping off him.
Yeah, I got a 2. So yeah, this is.
I pull like a little handkerchief out of my pocket and hand it to you. Hey, Mr. Jimmy, you might want to wipe up a little bit.
How did Leo do?
I got a 4, so my insight goes up.
Nice.
He's white in the face and trembling. What is going on?
Marguerite steps forward and picks up the girl's feet.
Nice. You pick up her feet.
I'm checking for the mud.
She does have some mud on her feet, actually. Dried mud, like dirt, like not, caked into the soles of her boots.
Leo stares at Marguerite and throws up. Oh, what are you doing with the crazy bitch?
And Marguerite, to get to the feet, you had to lift up, like, because of the way she fell, you had to lift up her coat, or at least a ragged piece of it. And yeah, in the coat pocket, there are the things that fell out of her pocket, and there is also a key, a key with a small like metal tog on it, with the address of Paulie's pool room.
Well, because Jimmy was just about to suggest, I want nothing to do with this. I'm going to find Paulie.
Yeah, I think Marguerite, if no one sees the key, she will pocket it and just this whatever this is. I'm done. Let's find Paulie. I mean, Chappa. I trust he's good on his own.
Yeah, I think that Jimmy's with Maggie on this one. I think Jimmy is thinking this is, he can't process this. He simply cannot process this. So in those circumstances, a very simple man does a very simple thing. He goes and does a different job. He goes to the next thing he has to do.
Fair enough. So we know what Maggie and I think that, Leo, as you're throwing up, you nearly, that you're staggering, you're catching your breath, your eyes watering, and you see the bundle of notes that fell out of this woman's pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as you look at them, they are. Let's see. You see receipts from the stockyards all clustered together, like scrumpled up in a thing. Lots and lots of, it says 50 head 2 weeks, 30 head 1 week, 60 head another. And you also find like a scrap of paper with it's like, if you were to pronounce it out loud, you'd think it would sound a lot like what that woman was saying just before this awful thing happened to her.
Interesting.
And all it has on it is the workers.
And one other question: the building we are standing in front of, would that be the location of B?
No, it wouldn't. But I think as you look, as Leo looks up at this building, taking it in for the first time, he sees Chambliss Meatpacking written across.
Which is what was on that brochure.
Chambliss Charities.
Oh, charities, yes. And Isaac mentioned a charity, didn't he?
Yeah.
This
building, though, looks. The thing is that as you look at it, and it's, you realize that you can see this from the Oracle's office. You could see this from the Oracle's windows. It's been. When did this get here? When? Why have you never seen it before? And why are the doors bricked up and the windows bricked up?
Is it a building that could have been a meatpacking factory?
This looks like a substantial, like a large, like this would be a big operation.
I turn to Tommy. Hey kids, so
Mr. Kowalski?
Marguerite and Jimmy are looking for this mobster, but you're with me, right? I want to know where Mr. Chopper is.
Mr. Chap has always been good to me. I mean, yeah, I got $1 in my pocket and I'd like to live to spend it, but he's a swell guy. And I don't know what happened to this poor woman, but I'm with you.
Well, promise me something, Tommy. If it gets dangerous, you just run.
You mean it isn't already dangerous? I mean, it kind of looks like she was in some danger.
I think I'm gonna I think I put myself between the pair of them, and I look at Leo and say, "You can't get this shit. You can't involve the kid in this. Walk away, friend. Walk away."
There's some things you can't walk away from. This is my city, and this is a colleague of mine. I get that you want to take care of Tommy, and he's a good kid, so it's up to him, I guess.
This is my neighborhood, Mr. Jimmy. I mean, this is where I live. I don't know this woman. I just realized this place has been here all along, which is, it's scary. I don't know why I never noticed it, but what would you do? I mean, your neighborhood, something like this happens?
I've been trying to pick the lock to this chain link fence.
Oh, there is no lock.
Oh, then Marguerite will...
Sorry, carry on, please, Ferret.
Marguerite will try to push the door open as the guys are talking about it then.
Oh, no, there is no door. There is just a fence. I mean, it's just a...
Oh, it's just a fence?
Yeah, it's just a fence. The really strange thing is, where is, like, where would you enter this place from? Because you can see the chain link fence, and you can see a row of warehouses that back on from the other side, on 8th Street. And wait, that's 9th Street. There's no entrance down on 9th. You know what?
In fact, there's not this big a gap between 8th Street and 9th Street, is there?
No.
I think I look at Marguerite and I say, I can't leave the kid here. I just can't leave the kid here.
I think we're at the point of where to next in the adventure, right?
She'll take Tommy and Jimmy and Leo, if he'd like, to Paulie's place.
Yeah, but Leo's not interested in coming. I think that's the problem. Leo wants to stay and investigate Chapper. And Tommy seems that he needs to do something similar, and I can't leave the kid.
I mean, we can always decide to just do whatever we think is most fun.
Yeah, how about I offer you all a drink to like a free drink at Paulie's to get your grit up and before we come back here.
Great idea.
I think that's cool.
Like actual alcohol in Spain? I mean, of course, not that anything like that exists in the city, but I could actually have.
If it was to exist, I'll let you pick. I mean, bottom shelf, top shelf. A boy like you has to have a choice, right?
What's a top shelf?
Oh, honey.
And on that, we cut across to Paulie's pool room, a low-rent basement pool room along the main thoroughfares between the stockyards and the meatpacker neighborhoods. The boards, it's got loose boards on the door, but you notice that they're not actually boarding the door up, like it's not attached to the wall. It's just boards on the door to give it the impression that it's been boarded up. That key that you have fits perfectly in there, Marguerite. And you come into what looks like a pool room. There are a large basement where 3 billiard tables would have once stood, but it's completely empty. One thing that you notice is that the tables are not really arranged so that you could play pool. They're like stacked on top of each other. If you walk up, Marguerite, from your time here, and I think Jimmy's probably gone for a drink once or twice here, even while he was enforcing prohibition in one day a week. You know that there is a panel on the door on the back, a false panel that opens up to the proper speakeasy where the moonshine can be found. It is empty and musty in here. When you pop the panel, though, you come to a long hallway with blacked out basement window and 3 small rooms that used to be used for drinking and gambling. In the hallway, there's dust and the smell of stagnant booze, mildewed hops, yeast, and something far, far worse. And that's when you notice that there's some other liquid smeared across the floor and the walls. And here, dark and red. Marguerite, I think you confidently opened the way into this place.
Yeah, should I investigate or just roll insight?
You know what? I think you just roll insight as you follow the bloody handprints and drag marks that coat the wallpaper into the first room on the left. You see an overturned poker table and a dead man collapsed in the corner, clutching a Tommy gun in one hand and his grey, loose intestines in the other.
Oh, yep, that's 6.
You recognize the roach.
And I think she will yelp and for the first time shed an actual tear.
Baines, you okay?
Send Mr. Malone.
Yeah, I think I will try to stop Tommy seeing this. You don't need to look at this kid. Stay in the corridor with
Well,
Leo.
Mr. Malone, I think you've seen plenty of dead men, and even a friend that you know is not a thing. But it's when you see the body and you notice that something's taken a bite out of those intestines. Roll for insight. 2. You're unfazed.
2. I've worked in Chicago a long time.
Yeah, Leo, what was it you were going to do?
I have to take a photo, even if he has to swallow hard.
Nice. You take a photo of
But I will also roll inside
it. Yeah.
because of the bite marks.
Tommy, you're kept outside, right? They're blocking your view of the door and everything.
Yeah, but something smells funny and it don't smell too good.
Yeah,
So,
that's also the reason, all you got to look at is out here, right? Which is why you notice that there are 2 sets of footprints in the dust. One of them goes into the drag marks and the Paulie's feet. It goes from the room at the very back. And you can see a smaller set of footprints in the dust on top of that. Like a woman's footprints.
that
Be
don't
about
make
the
no
size.
sense. I mean,
Be about the size of that one of those feet that you saw Maggie pick up before.
yeah, should I roll for investigate or insight or both?
Well, why don't you roll me investigate?
That's 5.
A 5. You're drawn to follow these footprints through into the back room where the floor has been torn up. You hear behind you to see the flash of the camera going off. And it illuminates this room briefly, going down as it bounces down the corridor. And you can see that the last room has had the floor torn up, and there's a ladder leading into a dirt tunnel. Looks like Paulie was looking to make his own tunnels down here, run his own operation out of here. But you can see that it looks like he's broken through to something deeper down there. And there is a tattered note on like office stationery. You can just about make out, like on the corner, LISS on the torn edge. And there is a scrawled number. As though someone wrote it with their finger in a dark material. And now can you roll me insight as you hear something move, just snuffle slightly in the darkness down below you.
That's a 4. Insight goes up. Mr. Jimmy, you think maybe this stuff is has anything to do with this?
Well, I think Jimmy is just this minute backing out of the room where I just kind of think, where the fuck has that kid got? And that's when you call me, and I kind of run down. Don't wander off, stupid kid.
But look, there's a hole in the floor here. I mean, there's a weird sound down there.
What do you mean a weird sound?
You hear footsteps walking away
Down there.
down there.
Is there a ladder?
Yeah.
Stay here.
There's this piece of paper too. Think this has anything to do with that building?
List. Chambliss. Yeah, but hang on. I got a suspect. And
Yeah.
I quickly go down the ladder.
Quickly go down the ladder. It is dark down there. It is pitch black, but there is a faint, there's the light coming in from above, and there is
Strike a match.
Yes, in fact, Paulie's lantern is right by the edge of the tunnel. So,
Right, I will light Paulie's lantern.
yeah, you can see something moving off in the tunnel. Like,
hey, you! Stop, police!
Turns a corner.
Run after it. Him. It's not it. It's a him. It's a him. It's a him. Turn around the corner.
You turn around the corner. You can see that there is the dirt tunnel breaks through into like peeling brickwork, and there is an awful smell coming from down here, like a faint, just rotting smell. So very similar to what you just smelled upstairs, in fact. And scattered across the tunnel in front of you, like filling like a couple of feet up, there are the broken bodies of dead cattle. 3 or 4, 4 or 5. It's hard to tell really, but they're all like a mound half obscuring the tunnel. You're muted, Alan.
Yeah, sorry. Jimmy panics. Roll for insight. 2.
2. You're meant your nerve. Yeah.
And so where could this person that I'm following have gone?
It's not blocked off entirely. They could have climbed over it.
What?
And gone through.
The policeman in me has to look over the top of this pile.
Okay.
So I kind of begin to kind of make my way across the top of it.
Yeah. As you start to clamber through the
over, not through. Over.
Yes. You step your foot in something you don't want to look. It squishes underneath. Something wet soaks your trouser leg as you kneel on it. And then the bodies move beneath you.
What?
And something grunts loudly, and you feel the cattle, like as something rolls out from underneath this mound of bodies and stands blocking the tunnel in front of you.
Jimmy scrabbles backwards towards the tunnel he came out of, shouting, Kid, get help, get help.
Well, let's see if you get away.
Roll to do something else. I am going to say that getting out of tight corners is actually part of the department's training program.
Fair enough.
But I am going to put the insight dice in. Oh, they've all come up 6.
Nice. So I think that's roll on the insight again.
Okay.
Because I think that.
2.
Oh, nice. So this doesn't. It doesn't bother you at all when you feel a hot breath on the back of your neck.
I'm just running. Don't look behind me. Don't look behind me.
You scramble up the ladder, kicking over the lantern as it goes.
I kick the ladder down. Get out.
And everybody else just, this cacophony comes running up as Jimmy comes bolting up the thing. And as he's screaming, just as a moment of silence.
Grabbing Tommy as I go, throwing him down the corridor ahead of me.
Yeah. Does anyone grab the Tommy gun? No?
I don't think so. Leo would
No.
do that. Leo
Yeah.
would look for booze, to be honest.
You know, I'm going to say that ladder actually smashes at the top of the. I think Leo was inspecting the bottles on the back shelf, right? Like the moonshine and the whiskey and things like that, and taking a nip to steady his nerves after the photography when all of this kicks off, and that lantern goes crashing down onto where's he? Jimmy comes running up the thing, and it immediately soaks into the whiskey distillery, setting it off on fire behind it.
That is an inside roll. The whiskey. Oh my god! No,
Oh, it could vary. You know, it's probably only fumes at this point, but who knows how it could cook off, right?
Leo grabs the bottle and runs.
Nice. Everyone gets out as Paulie's pool room begins to fill with smoke and fire.
Mr. Jimmy, what happened?
And I guess because we have to remember, Jimmy is already soaked in the girl's blood. But now one of his trouser leg is soaked to the knee in gore, and his hands are layered in drying blood. And I don't think he has an answer. I don't think he has an answer at all. He does not know what has gone on here. Just
Looking
don't
to become a midwife.
Mr. Kowalski, can you give him some of your whiskey? Calm him down a little bit.
Leo takes a deep, what's it called, like swallow from the bottle and passes on to Malone.
Nice.
Which I think will calm his nerves enough to think about the fact that he looks like he's been part of a mass murder. And he says, we have to get in touch with the department. We have to tell the police that this has gone too far now. This is just too far, too much.
Hey, Jimmy, what have you seen? Tell us.
The kid heard somebody in a tunnel. Looks like maybe Paulie was digging a tunnel for supplies. I don't know. And there was a guy in there who took off. I went after him, came around a corner, and there's like this room full of dead cattle. And so I try to go over the cattle, and then the cattle start moving, and something comes out from it, and I ran. What am I going to do? I ran.
So, what are you going to tell the police then? That you were attacked by dead cattle?
I hadn't thought of that. Then I need to get cleaned up. I need to get cleaned up.
You definitely need to get cleaned up. I mean, it's gonna kind of be a hard sell saying the Invisible Man killed that sweet little girl.
And Jimmy is now wondering, why didn't he call the police? As you know, why did he come here? Should have called the police when he saw the girl. What is going on?
Roll for insight, Jimmy, I guess.
That is what I'm asking, I guess. Yeah, okay.
And I got another question.
That is a 4, goes up to 4.
Does anybody remember how to get back to where that girl is so we could show the cops if you call them?
Nope.
No. That's a really good question. 8th Street, 9th Street. But there's that alleyway there can't be a factory back there.
The thing is, though, as you look now, and it's almost as though your eyes skips past it the first time. It's the second time that you cast around. You can see the smokestacks of Chambliss meatpacking poking out across the skyline. But you have no idea how you would get back there. It's like, if you were to try and follow it, you find yourself just always on the wrong corner, the wrong side of the road. Never quite able to get close enough as you did before.
I need to get cleaned up. I can't walk the streets like this.
And
Mr. Jimmy, this is Chicago. People walk the streets like that all the time.
No, they don't. No, they don't, kid. People come out of the meat packet. They have aprons that are soaked. This is the only suit I possess.
I can get you another suit.
I think you're going to have to, Miss Baines. I'm pretty sure that one's not going to be a suit anymore.
No, but how much money are you willing to part with, Mr. Malone?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You think this is free? The booze is complimentary. The suit ain't that much.
So it sounds as though Malone needs to take some time away to get his nerves together and get cleaned up. Perhaps now would be a good time to call a break. We will have one more, we'll hard frame doing some investigation or doing whatever you want to do separately, and then we'll probably escalate rapidly in the next hour. Okay, see you guys back at around 5 past, a bit later if you want to.
Works for me.
Okay, 6 minutes past. Yeah, fine.
And I'm back, Will.
I do wish I'd watched The Untouchables before running this.
That movie is so good. Even now, it's still so tight.
I think it's probably my favorite De Palma movie.
Oh, you don't talk so well with a gun in your mouth now, do you?
Now, obviously, if Marguerite had immediately gone to, it would be her down in that basement. running away from the ghoul. I mean, whatever it is. So just because of time and stuff, let's probably try and like frame whatever follow-up you want to do, and then I may get a little bit railroady afterwards, you know, like it'll point you towards a specific way. So Jimmy, having gone back, you wanted to get try and get the department involved, right? Like somehow.
No, but Leo did ask some very sensible questions, which is Marguerite asked some questions about, you know, what are you going to tell the police? That the invisible man, you know, killed a girl and we can't find the body? And what are you going to tell them? That you kind of got frightened clambering over some carcasses? So I don't think there's anywhere for me to go with that. I don't think I can involve the police.
But you still have access to, it's very true, but you still have full access to the police's resources, you know, records, clerical messages, access, in fact, to the FDA's records on Chambliss meatpacking.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Jimmy's not that kind of policeman.
Oh, fair enough. He's a break heads and thing.
Jimmy goes to collect his shotgun.
Oh, nice. Jimmy goes to collect his shotgun. Fair. Well, you do.
You know, a bath and a shotgun. What more do you need in these situations?
So the things that you definitely know. So you've confirmed so far between the group of you is that location B in Eddie Chapper's notebook was the same location listed for Chambliss Charities, which Isaac told you was run by the Bukowskis, this Polish family.
I think that's the loose end that we need to investigate. But
well, we know what Jimmy's doing, locking and loading and getting ready to kick in some doors. How about Leo?
Leo goes to the Polish community and asks around for the charity.
Well, you were pointed towards Sister Novak over at the town library.
A nun
who has been who has been working with Eddie Chapper, asking about Chambliss Charities. And she's quite happy to tell you about how she's been working with Mr. Chapper to reveal a predatory loan shark scheme. These people who live on the very edge of existence here, who have no rights, no one to look out for them. They pay their union fees and are met with nothing but disdain. They are always the last to be heard from. They find themselves in debt when their rents go up and up and up, and then Chambliss Charities steps in and offers a loan. Offers a donation that turns out to be a loan by another name, and then the payments are demanded. And those who can pay get to live. Those who don't get hounded out of house and home, and anyone who fights back, they're never seen again. No one cares. Eddie thought there was some big money involved, huge amounts of money moving through the district. You know, a racket like this, he thought that it was going to be a big story for. It would have everything that the people cared about. It would have crime. It would have corruption. It would go for their stomach because of the food production element, and it would maybe get them to give a damn about these people being ground up at the bottom of it all.
Leo thinks actually the same thing, the very same thing. So, sister, do you have the investigation, like all the information that Eddie collected?
She says yes. Eddie kept some of his notes here. He wasn't allowed to take some of the clippings from the library, and she hands you a folder with some newspaper clippings about a Mr. Andrew Chambliss, the heir to the Chambliss meatpacking fortune, which is, I will just put Mr. Chambliss himself into the character keeper. There we go. Some of you may recognize this fellow. It's H.P. Lovecraft for those who don't. And it details how around the turn of the century, and as you read this, things begin to sound familiar? The name Chambliss. You know, it was before your time, but you had heard of it, but you never really thought about it before. And Chambliss was everywhere in this town. And the newspaper clippings tell the story of how Andrew Chambliss, inspired by the purchase of Chichen Itza by the Americans, went on his own anthropological dig in South America. And the expedition was thought lost. But then the young socialite returned, and then the family's fortunes went into decline as the father died. And then there are newspaper clippings from the financial pages where Chambliss is making completely insane business decisions. It's selling off property all over the city, selling off its train tracks, its warehouses, all of its real estate. You can even see a note saying detailing the sale of the house, which is the house that you have, the house in the suburbs. You realize it would be the same one. And the very last editorial that you find in the newspaper clippings talks about how maybe it's restructuring, seems to be spending a lot of money on construction projects, and then everything goes silent. And there's never a story. There's never another story about Chambliss as far as Eddie was able to find out.
And the nun doesn't have like the names of all the people who disappeared.
She doesn't have the names of all of them, no. She gives you the names of some people who have gone missing. Boris, Kasia, Yvette. And the final thing that she gives you, though, is the location of the Bukowski's stockyards, the last holding of the Chambliss estate beyond Chambliss Meatpacking and Chambliss Charities. And you find the address of an address in the Chicago stockyards, right on the edge of the pens. Pretty low rent territory.
So we have two different addresses. One is in the wealthy district, which is their manor.
Yeah.
Or something. And then there's
Well, you have three addresses total. You have the Chambliss estate, which was sold off at some point, which is what you got from Eddie's address book. You have Chambliss Charities down in the slums where the Bukowskis are located. It's registered in Bukowski's name. And you have the Chambliss Stockyards, the last run by the Bukowskis as well. So the last extant part of their business, which, according to the paperwork, never stopped trading, but just seems to have dropped off the face of the earth decades ago.
Yeah, so that would be Leo's investigation, and then he would probably call Malone.
So, Tommy, Margaret, what are you? We know that Jimmy and Leo are going to meet up. What are your motivations here? What are you thinking of doing? Tommy, Eddie Chapper's still missing. God knows what's happened to him.
I know exactly what to do here. I told you, we're like rats. We're everywhere and nobody pays any attention to us. I know how to find the factory. And I just put the word out to everybody. I want you to turn halfway around and don't look, but just, there's going to be something at the corner of your eye, and it's going to look a little familiar. If you turn to look at it, it's not going to be there, but it sounds really weird, but trust me. And I want all of you to spread out, and then I want you to come back and tell me where it was and where you were.
Why don't we roll investigate to see how well this is? And you know what? You can have 2 dice for that.
I want to roll with my insight die. That is 3, 1, 3.
1, 3. You can re-roll with your insight die if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a
161.
6. Cool. Well, you send out your runners, your boys, your girls, everybody. They hit the streets, and none of them ever find it. But one of them comes back to you, like a little kid, limps a bit since the car hit him, and he tells you,
Jackie Coogan.
Jackie Coogan,
Good
yeah,
kid.
yeah, and he says that he thinks he found like a tunnel, like a big pipe,
Yeah.
You can see that building on the other side, but with his leg and all, he doesn't want to like get stuck in there. Remember what happened to Freddy, right?
Yeah. Done good, Jackie.
So you're buying the chilies, huh?
You know what? Here, take this. You need it more than I do. And I give him the $1.
Oh, nice. So you now know of yeah, that's definitely Jackie. So you do know now of another entrance, perhaps to Chambliss Meatpacking, a tunnel.
I'm gonna go find Mr. Jimmy and tell him real quick. He needs to know.
And how about you, Maggie? I mean, Paulie's dead, but you owed Paulie. He was a good guy. He looked out for you. Saved your life once or twice. Always did right by your husband. By your guy, even, sorry.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to tell someone that yeah, like Paulie's been found. He's probably going to be a bit more charred and eaten than the last time anyone saw him when they next see him.
The hen looks immensely pleased at this news. He's like, well, he ain't my problem no more. Listen, you find out any more about what he got mixed up in, I'll make it real worth your while.
Oh, dear God. And, yeah, so she'll trade in the XP she's been getting for every investigation, stat up, and go to the final final boss. I mean, I'd probably find Tommy and make sure he gets more chili in him, and then get dragged along.
Having convened, I think at Nora's, a large bag by Jimmy's feet, however he keeps the shotgun hidden.
Well, obviously it's sawn off, so it's in a kind of carpet bag.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, like a bowling ball type thing. Where do you guys go? I'll go to Leo for his take.
I think probably when Leo hears about the tunnel, he connects the dots and assumes that this will lead to the stockyard, and maybe it's the easiest way in.
Fair. No objections to the tunnel idea? Cool. So, Jackie leads you down, with his piping cup of coffee to go in one hand, limping down the alleyways, and leads you like winding back on yourselves. Like you swear you'd almost like cross the road, but you don't. And you go down to the thing, and Jackie's just whistling to himself happily as he goes through this. He doesn't seem to be fazed by this at all. And he takes you down into like between two buildings, like you have to squeeze right through until you come out into like a like where pipes and industrial, like the bits in between the buildings are, and there is a gutter that goes down into a big like storm drain, and as you look just in between the cracks of the buildings above you, you can see the red tower and the huge letters CH so close. And it goes down into the darkness of the storm drain.
Hey, Jackie,
Jimmy does.
you go back to the Oracle and you tell them I said they need to give you a good corner.
Sure.
You get on out of here now.
Sure thing, Tommy. And he
I'll see
scampers
you
off,
around.
squeezing nimbly through the thing, his limp slightly gone now that he's got paid. He stabbed Jackie for
Jimmy won't think twice. He scrabbles down into the storm drain.
I'm going to assume that you've all got like torches and stuff, like it's not going to be that kind of adventure.
Yeah, I'm not even in heels now. I learned my lesson.
So you are walking down through this storm drain, and it goes down and down and down and down until it comes through into like an intersection. And if you follow on forwards, you can see that there is a gaps in the brickwork that lead through to more tunnels through there. And you squeeze through, and you keep following the direction, but it seems to be taking much, much, much longer than you realized. And let's roll to see what, because there is one of my favorite things in all RPGs ever is a random table of things to roll against.
Yes.
I'm surprised you haven't asked for a detailed order.
Marching order, yeah. And you're walking in the darkness, and you come to a series of dizzying intersections that as you take one left and then a right, and then you go back on yourself, and there's two lefts and two rights and another one, and you're leading your way up through, and it's just the walls are closing in on you, and but you think you're going the right way. You think you are. And that's when you come to the bones. Just all along the floor of the tunnel is skeletons. Every footstep is maddeningly loud as you step into just the jawbones, the knuckles, the femurs of just animal. And that's when a distinctly human-looking skull rolls out from underneath the pile of bones.
Jimmy will roll 4 insight.
Only
Right.
Jimmy?
Everyone's invited to do so. If it disturbs your character, we will play it as if it disturbs your character. Please feel free to make that insight roll.
I rolled 3, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite a woman exploding into the blood in front of you, I suppose.
And I rolled a 6.
But now, I think I will ask. Marguerite, could you roll to go through the tunnels to try and navigate your way through? I think that's humanly possible when you're inside dice.
Okay, let's do this then. Oh, got a 6, and it's not the inside die.
Nice. So you got a 6, which means it's a success. So you're one step closer to working your way through these tunnels. But it is a 6, so it means that you will see something that is unpleasant. And I think the thing that's unpleasant is that as you walk, you feel like the draft of air on your face, and you turn the group towards an intersection, running away from these tunnels. There's these skeletons that are in like this dip, this lull, this slant in between the slopes, and you're walking up, and you can see like a light in the distance. And as you come closer to it, you realize that your torches have died, and that the light is still the same level. And you can see, but there is no light source. It's dark, but somehow it's just, even though you can't see a single bit of light source anywhere, you can just about make out the features of your companions around you and the walls stretching down in front of you.
Mr. Jimmy, wasn't we just going up? Feels like we're going down now.
I don't know, Tommy. I think we got turned around. Marguerite, where you've taken us, and where's my torch is given out?
And as Jimmy bangs it, the light flickers on for just a second and shines across the tunnel on the slumped figure over the wall, like just against the wall of the tunnel.
Jimmy runs up to the figure.
As the light plays across his face, Leo and Tommy recognize Eddie Chapper.
Oh, Eddie.
And he has had his jaw and his chest and one of his legs crushed by a sledgehammer. And you can see his fingers where he tried to crawl, where whatever was left in Eddie tried to crawl away. It didn't make it.
Leo lights a cigarette.
Mr. Chapper was a swell guy to us. He didn't deserve this.
Nobody does.
Jimmy's kind of thinking, well, that's the investigation tied up then.
Yeah. Which is why you hear footsteps moving at the tunnel behind you.
Spin round. Shotgun.
Light glitters off. Eyes in the darkness.
Eyes.
Smell
A
of
pair of
eyes. Pairs of
Multiple.
eyes. Pairs
Pairs.
of eyes.
There's pairs of eyes.
Yes. And I think your flashlight flickers again and you see just the pale, swollen, bloated flesh of something larger than a man, but hunched and fat and corpus and wet, grunting as it moves towards you.
Okay. Back away, folks. Back away.
Would you like to roll to lead the retreat, Jimmy?
Yeah. To do something with insight, I think that I will deploy my police crowd control skills.
Mm-hmm. So we run and the rest runs, right?
Yes, yeah.
That is sorry, the insight didn't roll. I'll roll it. So that's 6, and it's not on the insight.
Nice. Well, I rolled a 6 on the failure, but we tie, so you win. I think you let off a shot as one of them lunges forwards, and it squeals in the darkness, and then you just see another one reach forward. As you blow this one's head away, it grabs hold of the body and just begins to eat it, devouring it, but there are more coming behind it.
And I think we see Jimmy running down the corridor. He breaks the shotgun. He fumbles in his pocket as he's running to put more shells in the shotgun.
And you come running through into a huge antechamber that doesn't belong here or anywhere in Chicago. It's like you're sprinting through these tunnels, like these dark, turn after turn, dead end. You turn around, you sprint back again. You can hear them coming up behind you, and then you burst through into an open space that's illuminated with a iridescent blue glow coming from the center of the room. And you can see that written all across the walls is this writing that hurts your eyes. And there are just mounds of forms of bodies scattered all across. And as you look, you see that amidst them are more of these things rooting their way through hungrily, but they have not noticed you yet. There is a stairwell going up, winding around. It looks like an iron factory, like a factory stairwell, winding its way circular up in the middle of the antechamber, going through into the ceiling.
Is it fair to assume that Leo still has the paper with the what is it called? Like the chant?
Yes, there is indeed, yes.
I mean, Leo at this point is half out of his mind. And so in technical terms, my insight built up to 5.
Okay.
And I think in his crazy mind, he will assume that reading the spell or whatever it is will cause invisible slashes to emerge on enemies. So he will stop and start reading aloud the words.
The rest of you, I don't think you noticed Leo stopping and fumbling these out of his pockets. Are you trying to make your way to the stairwell? Like this first sign of human engineering, and
I'm certainly gesturing to Tommy. Go, quiet, go.
I'm just following the guy with the shotgun at this point, and I've got my pocket knife out in case things get real bad.
Yeah, I think Marguerite has her special, which is like this 3-shot ladies magnum in her hand. She's like, "Yep, I brought the right weapon. Should have got that Tommy gun."
yes, yeah.
I think Jimmy will be inclined to try and put himself between Tommy, Maggie, and a threat.
Yes, I would.
And Leo, and I think as they're backing away, he's kind of saying, "Leo, come on."
Well, I think that you're doing that over your shoulder. Come on. And Leo is instead fumbling out, and you're skirting your way around just piles of what was once flesh, and it was stopped being a long time ago. And inside that thing, you hear growling, masticating noises, and you come through, and you find your way to the first step. You pull yourself on, and as you grab hold of the railing to lift yourself up onto the step, it creaks, and Rust shrieks out, and you hear as things begin to look over, and that is when Leo begins to fumble his way through the words, and every single head in the room turns as those words echo and sound throughout the entire chamber. And all you can see is one of them just pushes straight past, bursts out of a pile of just rotting flesh that was right next to Tommy, and just like brushes past him, paying him no heed whatsoever, like as he's completely obscured by the shadow of this hulking beast as it strides towards Leo, and he finds himself just surrounded by a waiting workforce of these people, as all three of you stand petrified with fear on the stairs. And Leo, what do you do?
I mean, I try to keep on reading, trying to.
You're repeating the same phrase over and over and over again.
Yes, just as the girl did.
One of them walks up, there's quiet as I think your voice trails off.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them strides forward to you, and you stand in its hulking, you can see the crust and gore matted all over this short, wiry fur that springs out of it. It's like a man. The man ate and was nothing but eating forever and ever and ever down here in the dark. And it had grown fat and spoiled with the runoff of the city's waste. And it looks down at you, and it reaches one clawed hand slowly into your stomach and pulls, and then begins to consume it. Everyone on the stairs, please make me an insight check.
You can also hear Leo screaming.
I got a 1.
Wow. She is a stone cold bitch.
Jesus, I'm only on insight 3. The hell?
I rolled a 5. My insight goes up to 5.
Well, and what does Tommy's do?
I rolled a 6.
Are you on full 6?
No, that gets me up to 5.
Oh, nice. Well, I think with that in mind, that's when you run pounding up the stairs. It like bounces with every footstep that you run up, and you're running up and you're going through just like this carved, hewn rock. Like you didn't come down this far. Why is it taking so? How is this so long? Who digs so deep in Chicago, for God's sake? And you run up, and you come your way up onto a smooth. Well, no, as you come up, you find your way up through a series of like runes cover all the walls, leading up, and blue light passes through them. As you come up onto the blue light, goes into the like the sluice lid drains of a factory floor, and you find yourself climbing up through the big drain at the middle of it all. And it is pitch dark in here, and your lights flicker dimly in the darkness, and you can just see the whole walls are covered in meat and flesh. Something drips from the roof above. Chains hang down and jangle slowly in a breeze that you don't feel on your face. It is warm and wet and fetid. And sat in this bare, empty room, once filled with industry, once this would have been a production line that could have fed America all by itself. And it just sits empty, other than a figure sat on a simple fold-out chair in the darkness.
Don't think about it. March towards him and shoot his head off.
You stride towards, you raise a shotgun, you blow the head off the figure, and it collapses backwards, and you realize that it's just a pile of meat and offal stacked in the shape of a man. And around
Reload.
you, yeah. Well, I think roll for insight as you feel everything just move, like the building breathes around you.
Oh, that's a 1. I'm still hanging on by a fingernail here.
You're still hanging on by a fingernail.
I'd like to suppress mythos knowledge.
Yeah. How do you do that?
I'm just going to start, like, because I remember Mr. Chappa's headlines, because I had to shout them out in the streets. So I'm just going to start reciting to myself real quiet, like, so I'm not making really any noise.
You know what? Roll me an investigate, Tommy.
That's 5.
5. You're chanting, and it allows you to think clearly amid this insanity around you. And as you look across, it's like the inside of the meatpacking plant has been turned into some cross between a tomb and a womb. There is grey flesh. Like what you thought were chains is actually skin and intestines and things that you don't even want to look at. What you thought was machinery is like a twisted stomach that pulses and fluid moves in between it. And you see, though, that every window has been bricked up. There is no sunlight in here. But far in the corner, the faintest crack, there's a glimmer of light. And around it, you can see dead flesh.
So do I make the insight roll to suppress knowledge now?
Yes. Because I think you realize that this can be beaten,
That is a 3. So I reduce my insight.
Nice. I think that's enough, to keep your wits about you and say, like, the window. Maggie, what do you do?
I shove Tommy towards the window and draw my gun and just go, get out. I got this.
You push him away, and as he runs, you just smell the awfulness on the air here, and it turns your stomach, and your mouth starts to water as you feel a hunger like you've never felt before. Roll insight.
Oh, no, I wanted to be corrupted. Can I say my final words?
Oh, yeah, go for it. You know what? We're at that point of the game where feel free.
Like, then I think Maggie just like pulls, like he feels hunger, like just starts eating, and it's like, I could probably sell this.
Oh yeah, yeah. It may. I think, in fact, that there is like a trench. Like a trough
Hmm.
of meat just there alongside. And as you're running, you just stop for a second and
Yeah.
not bad.
I
Yeah.
think like, the coupon book falls like out, like the original Monopoly get out of jail free card like falls out. But I have a great epilogue planned.
Nice. And we know what happened to Leo. Tommy is running towards the window, shoved forward by Maggie. Jimmy is looking for a target, but doesn't find one. As I think he hears whispers of so many names, all the people that Jimmy has killed in the line of duty, his lost partner, those who he's lost along the way.
I'm running for
Yeah,
it.
you sprint after the kid. I think you jog after the kid, and you bump into the back of Marguerite. She turns towards you, and blood. You want some?
Oh, I will roll for insight. That's a 1. I push her away and follow the kid.
Yeah. Tommy, you come to the window. You can see the sunlight out there. You can feel the breeze on your face. But as you come towards it, you feel like cripplingly weak, like faint with hunger. What are you doing? You going to try and get out of here?
Oh, yeah. This ain't no kind of place for me.
Yeah. Well, roll to do something.
I will roll to do a lot of things.
That's a 5, and I got a 3 on the failure dice. So you kick your way through. Like you scrabble your fingers, working like you rip the skin off your fingernail and your fingernails out as you pry and scrabble away like this one loose brick, and that crumbles away just enough for you to kick and kick and kick. And just as like you're breaking through, Jimmy suddenly like lifts you, shoves you aside, and then smacks it with the back of his shotgun, like busting it up. And you break through into the air and stagger out into the open window, into the open lot of Chambliss meatpacking.
But the bricks had to have been bone and marrow set, and now they're actually brick and mortar when you're outside.
Well, no, that's a great idea. I think that as you're breaking it away, there is just blood spraying from the brickwork, as though you are ripping apart a human being's body to get out of here. You stagger out, and behind you, when you look back, it's just smooth brick again and darkness. But they're open. But you can see in front of you, 8th Street. People just going about their day, paying no mind to the crazed man covered in blood.
And the kid.
Yeah.
Mr. Jimmy, what the hell was that?
Never speak of this. Never speak of this, kid. No one will believe you, and you will end up in an asylum. Never speak of this.
I think I got to find me another line of work.
And I think we will cut to epilogues at that point. And Marguerite, you had an epilogue in mind, I believe.
Yeah, Marguerite is thought to be lost for what goes on to be about a year, and I think Jimmy one day, like on wherever he's retired to, or maybe Tommy, like looking at a paper wistfully as he's turned 18 and is no longer a paper boy, sees just a very small ad taken out in the paper. Baroness Bane's Perfect Meals for Perfect Families, a Chambliss Industries Productions.
Nice.
And I think as like the years go by and the other epilogues, we see like the growth of like this, the microwave meals and the industry growing bigger and bigger with Marguerite as the face of this TV food empire.
A new factory opened in New Mexico. Yeah. And then Jimmy.
I think that we see Jimmy. It's probably 18 months, 2 years on. and he's in a this rundown apartment. He looks like shit. There's a half empty bottle of whiskey on a table beside him, and he's drinking steadily from it. And on the table, he's unfolding what looks like a legal document of some kind. And it's an insurance policy. It's his police insurance policy, his retirement plan. And there's a gap, beneficiaries, and there's just a gap. And he writes Tommy DeMarco. And then we stay focused on the document. And then we hear a shotgun go off.
Oof. Nice. And Tommy.
Miss Baines always trusted my what do you call them? The recommendations you make, the suggestions in books.
Yeah.
So I got myself out of the streets, and times wasn't real good, but I managed to find a way to get into school. And I went ahead and I graduated. And it's kind of weird. I started writing stories. And, I'm these magazines, they pay me money for them. They can't get enough of these descriptions of weird rooms and, languages that no one speaks. And, well, they don't know no better.
Nice. And I think the only little postscript I'll add to that is that one day Tommy does go back to his old neighborhood, I think he takes his sweetheart of the time, and goes to Nora's. Still the same price as it was all those years ago. And Nora comes over. Hi, sweetheart. Oh yeah. Oh, I know prices are going up everywhere. The economy's terrible, but we found a really good supplier, Chambliss. And Horst, is there anything you would like to add as a postscript for this whole sordid affair?
Yeah, I think that you see like the derelict apartments that we in the slums, and then there's the doorbell for the Kowalskis, and they sit inside, over the eviction notice, and then there's a letter thrown into the apartment, and they pick it up and smile, and it says Chalice, like investment or something. Chalice.
Oh, that might be the most horrifying ending of them all. The rent's due. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. I'm going to end the recording now, and then we'll do Stars and Wishes. Oh, Roses and Thorns.